Hello there. Welcome back to the Purple A Society YouTube channel, my mini university to help us transition to more fourth dimensional thinking. We've got great things on the channel. We've got amazing playlists to help you learn, to help you rock and jam out, to help you expand your mind. So we've got audiobook playlists and spiritual lectures playlists, a playlist on astrology, a playlist on the Sibyls, so many different things, a playlist on auric fields and the fascia in your body. We also have videos in a couple of series that I have. One is called Demystifying the Tarot, which this video falls under. And then I have another one, which is called Real Talk with AI, which I go into some of my most profound conversations with ChatGPT, because who knows how long we'll have access to technology like this. And I want to make sure that we use it to the best of our ability now. Stay till the end. I'll give you some information on a mystery school that I run. That's a lot of fun. And the people who are a part of the mystery school, I get a lot of really great feedback from them. So I want to tell you about that. But we're going to jump into the King cards. Okay. So think about what the King really represents. Just like we looked at the Queen on the last video that we did. The Queen is the divine right brain, right? The feminine side of who we are. It's our creative side. It's our nurturing side. It's the side of us that sees the whole of things, sees things holistically, sees the totality of a thing. It's the sensual side of us, the side that processes emotions. Well, the King is going to be your left brain. And I say your left brain because we're not talking about gender. Even though in the physical, a queen is female and a king is male. In terms of spiritual concepts, we both have right and left brains. All women have a right brain. All men have a left brain. And so the left brain is going to be your logical, reasoning, rational side. It's the side that breaks things apart, examines them, and then puts them back together. Whereas the Queen sees the whole of the thing and she nurtures the whole. She's also magnetic. So she draws in, where the masculine is electric and pushes out. Right? The masculine initiates, the feminine nurtures what's initiated. And it's that juxtaposition, that interchange, or that interplay, like a bouncing ball back and forth between the feminine and the masculine. Now, the swords deal with our mind. A sword, a decision is just going to be made. When someone swings the sword, the head is chopped off, and that's the end of that. That you're not going to change that. So the sword deals with not only decisions, but ideas and visions and memories and ideas and like your imagination, ideas that you want for the future, or the things that you worry about in your head, or your psychic intuition, or your higher mind, your higher spiritual process. And so the swords deal with all of that. You see it in the card. There's clouds behind him. A lot of times when you see clouds on the tarot card, you're dealing a lot of times with a sword, because we're dealing with the mind, the thoughts that sort of collect themselves in the air, and like a antenna, our body is tuned to a certain frequency based on the emotional habits that we built up becomes a frequency like an antenna, and draws those thoughts within. And so swords deal with all of that. But the other thing that the King of Swords deals with, just like the Queen of Swords, there's always this connection to this butterfly. And think about what a butterfly does. A butterfly starts off as a caterpillar, right? He has a one body, one reality, one appearance, the structure of his body. Then he goes and hibernates in his cocoon, and then sort of eats and tears his way out as a completely different identity. Now his body is a different color. It does a different thing. He now flies. He has less legs. The colors of him are different. The way its body is shaped is completely different. It doesn't have the fur. It now has the wings. The King and the Queen of Swords have the ability to transform their minds. It's a mind, a limber and loose mind, not a mind. We're not talking about loose as in irresponsible. We're talking about loose as in agile, malleable, can look at things, can accept accountability, can change the course when it's necessary, can hear someone else's point of view, and recognizes that just because I believe a thing doesn't mean that that thing is true. It's objectivity, the ability to transform one's thinking, and get rid of beliefs and ideas that no longer serve him or the kingdom. It's the ability to understand a new way of looking at things. And if the new way is actually correct, going with the correct versus going with what I've always believed. He has the ability, he's more mature in that way. The colors that represent him are, number one, he has on the red cloak, and that red deals with that lower the lower chakra, the root chakra that's grounded into the earth. So though he has a masterful mind, he's also very grounded into the earth. He has to have that level of grounding in order to lead a kingdom. But his gown is the color blue, which is more indicative of the throat chakra, of what we say and express and what we hear and draw in terms of what is expressed to us. And so he has to be able to not only speak and communicate something to his kingdom, he has to be able to listen and sift through what he's also hearing. So it's a very down to earth kind of leadership related to this king. And so, but it is that mastery of the left brain of the mind. It is that mastery of reasoning, having being a critical thinker, someone who can analyze a thing, someone who is observant, someone who can think quick, someone who can make prudent decisions fairly quickly, someone who doesn't rush to make a decision. He goes as fast as he can to make the right decision, but he doesn't rush a decision in terms of any kind of decision to just get the thing out of the way. He has his slow and mature way of dealing with decision making. That's what your King of Swords represents, and the ability to transform his mind. Be renewed by the transforming of your mind. That's what the King of Swords represents. Then you have the King of Wands. And so wands, where the swords dealt with winter and dealt with the air, wands deal more with the spring. The nature element is fire, and fire is depicted in a lot of the colors on this card. Wands, the nature element of fire, but then you have this king who has this red hair. He has on this his the red gown that he's wearing. One of his cloaks is, or his throne is yellow, and he has the yellow what do you call it? The yellow cape on him with salamanders on it. On his head is a gold crown. And then behind him, the back of his throne is in yellow with dragons on it. So there's this indication of fire. Those lower three chakras, the root chakra, the sacral chakra, and the solar plexus chakra, all deal in those colors, those reds, the oranges, and the yellow. And down in those areas is where a passion is generated. And that's why this is compared more to like the fire of the wands. Fire, we're dealing with our intentions. Fire and wands. The symbol of wands deals with our intentions, our desires. It is the fuel needed to take the idea that comes from our head and to bring it down eventually into the physical world. It's an action-oriented card, and so it deals with passion, deals with purpose, it deals with energy, it deals with movement and action and focus and diligence and consistency. It's like having a really strong why. It's that power. Even in his red hair, a lot of times when you see these archetypes on some of these cards of the mythology with red hair, you're talking about someone who has a very passionate attitude, very passionate, energetic personality. Now, the salamanders and the dragon, they represent a lot of times fire. The dragon is believed to blow fire from his mouth, breathe fire from his mouth. And then salamanders were believed to be able to set themselves on fire, when in reality it's that they can, if they're in a condition that or some kind of environment that has caught fire, they have a strong ability to withstand heat. They can absorb heat and still survive. And so that mythology came where people would see these tree trunks after a forest fire, and then salamanders would come out of the trees still hotter, still steaming. And people took on the idea, maybe they can set themselves on fire, but it's really how they are able to withstand heat. And so that heat in this context of the King of Wands is the heat and the fire and the desire to actually, the energy and the intention and the motivation and desire and passion to make a thing happen. And if you look at his wand is already starting to grow. It's starting to grow leaves. So he is a master. It's like a master manifester, using his left brain, reasoning, logical, calculating, using that critical thinking ability that he has, the energy and the fire that he has in him, coupled with the left brain reasoning abilities, allows him to be a master manifester. And that's how you see that in the branch. His wand is a branch where leaves are growing. He has the ability to generate the fuel within him needed to bring a thing into the physical reality through action and intention. That's what the King of Wands represents. Then we move to the King of Cups, and the King of Cups is really just sort of enjoying life. So your cups deals with your emotions. The nature element is water, feelings, water. Sometimes water is compared to feminine energy because life comes through water, the waters of the womb. Anytime a scientist with NASA says that they may have found a planet with water, that's really interesting to them. And they put a lot of attention and time into researching it because it is believed that if there's water, that there's possible life that has evolved from that planet. And so the waters deal with feelings, but he is the divine masculine who has a good handle on his emotions. His waters behind him, you see an ocean behind him, and the waves are crashing. It's not fetid or dammed up. It's not like he's not shoving his emotions down. He's not like just pushing them down and ignoring them and being stoic, pretending that they don't exist. He has a healthy way of allowing his emotions to, he knows how to freely calibrate and work with his emotions. And how this is represented is, in his kingdom is in the waters, you see ships coming in. And so ships a lot of time deal with trade or deal with relationship with other islands or other countries or other continents. So there may be books or there may be jewels or rugs or all kinds of things coming from other countries on these ships. So that means that there is a healthy flow of giving and receiving, the healthy exchange, a currency exchange, the waters flowing. So it's a healthy relationship. So there's a healthy emotional relationship with money and trade as well. There's also the dolphins jumping in and out of the water. A lot of times dolphins represent new beginnings, emerging out of the water. Sometimes you see that they usher in the ships coming in. So there's friendliness associated with trade. And then in some of the ancient mythology, which we actually go through that in my Inner Four Mystery School, there's association with the dolphins and certain kind of fairies being able to change from one shapeshift from this dolphin into this fairy mythology. And again, we go through that in the mystery school. If you're interested in that, stay till the end and I'll give you some more information on that. And so he's dressed it's like silks or suede. So it's like a blue gown that he has on. And that blue, that blue, throat chakra, expressing free flowing emotions and feeling free enough to express oneself. And then free flowing, being able to welcome someone else's opinion and someone else's ideas or someone else's emotions, what is they're trying to share. A king who is strong in their cups aspect has a good relationship with the free-flowing emotion and communication with his kingdom. You can't run a healthy, happy kingdom that lasts long if the people are emotionally unwell and they are bogged down and beat down by your aggressive, abrasive leadership. It's got to be free-flowing and emotionally healthy. Some shadow work has to be done for that kind of leadership. So the person that embodies that kind of archetype, you have to know if you're a man embodying that archetype or even a woman who's dealing with that left brain aspect of herself, one thing you're going to have to do is to deal with any kind of aggressiveness, deal with any kind of unhealed emotions, or fear of even expressing emotions, or fear of dealing with negative emotions that people share with you. You know, one has to learn how to calibrate one's emotions, and the King of Cups is a great indicator of why to do that, and how he does that. Then the last card we pull here is the King of Pentacles. And the King of Pentacles reminds me so much of Dwight Schrute from The Office. And so Dwight Schrute just had a masterful way of dealing with the physical reality. He just had a strong ability to manifest that in the physical reality, because he used the physical reality that he had, the resources that he had available to him, in order to do that. And so I'll give you an example of what I mean. Number one, he was a very hard worker. He had a strong work ethic. So he took care of his body in the way that he saw fit. He believed in having very strong bodily strength. He believed in working out and doing martial arts practices and learning how to use weapons so that he could physically protect his environment and the people under his care and the woman that he loved, which was Angela. Also, he inherited his family's, like, I think he said 50-acre beet farm. And so that is a resource to him. All of that land that he has available to him, he's able to live on that land. He and his family live on the land. But on top of that, they are able to harvest the land. They're able to plant, the seeds of beets and harvest that in the fall and sell those beets. But he also used his family's land to run a bed and breakfast, to run it like doing events, things of that nature. He was working in Dunder Mifflin, which was the failing paper company, and he actually bought that building. He was the top salesman with the branch. He bought the building and created other businesses inside of the building. So he had a strong work ethic inside of his body, but he also had just was the master of the harvest. And so when you look at the King of Pentacles, a pentacle is a gold coin with a pentagram on it, or a 5-pointed star. And the 5-pointed star represents the 4 elements plus the fifth, so earth, air, fire, water, and the fifth, which some people would say is time or space-time, and some other people would say is spirit. And it's engraved onto this coin. Well, coins are mined from the earth, just like the playing cards counterpart, diamonds, are mined from the earth. So not only are they mined from the earth, they're mined from the earth because of their value. So we're talking about the resources that we have available to us in the physical reality that are valuable to us. Everything we can see with our eyes, smell with our nose, taste with our tongue, hear with our ears, feel with our hands, and intuit through our bodies and our nervous system. Those are the things in our physical reality. So, the Pentacles deals with the earth, the earth is a realm. It's a physical 3D realm. Okay. And that we live a part of that, and having a physical body, interacting with physical things and physical people, that's dealing with the earth. And so this King of Pentacles, he's sitting on his, looks like a metal or it's some kind of a metal throne, right? And there's on all 4 corners, the top 2 corners of the back of the throne and the armrests of the throne all have bulls' heads on them, and bulls charge through. So there's confidence, there's power, there's aggression, there is knowing, there's likely experience involved in that knowing and that power, and just a wisdom. There's just the strength involved in that. And so he is the king that bulldozes through, whether you see that as positive or negative, bulldozes through and acquires in the physical realm. The goal of the King of Pentacles is to be able to do that in such a way that provides value for the kingdom, and not just in terms of just unbridled aggression. The king has a sense of leadership. The king is to bow to the crown. The crown it doesn't bow to the king. The king is now the servant leader. So he doesn't, it is outside of that kind of law to go against the crown. This is like, it's the same thing with the Constitution. We fall under the Constitution. That's what everyone should respect. Just like in kingdoms where there's monarchies, they fall under the crown. The crown is what they should respect. The values, the behaviors, the dignified way of speaking, the compassion towards the kingdom. That's the purpose of what a crown is supposed to represent. Minus, we're not talking about kingdoms who don't honor that, or kingdoms who felt, who made mistakes in honoring that. I'm talking about just in general what it's really supposed to represent. And so he's supposed to fall under that heading. He's supposed to, the crown is higher up in hierarchy than even the king. And so the king is supposed to honor that. And he's supposed to bring that power and that force in running a kingdom into things that will benefit the kingdom. And you kind of see that when he's wearing his robe that has grapes on a vine all over the robe. It's just part of the art. Grapevines all over the robe. And grapes are like considered a luxury. In the ancient world, it was a luxurious fruit. It's healthy, very sweet. They're not the easiest plants to grow. It has to be grown in certain kind of climates. And so only like dignitaries or the royal families, people who were higher up in the social hierarchy, could access them. Think about the old Hollywood movies where someone is laying and someone's fanning them and feeding them grapes at the beach. It's kind of that it's seen as like luxury because it's sweet and delicious and rare. And so he's able to bring that kind of leadership and that kind of luxury to his kingdom. If he's dealing with the pentacles and he's the king of it, then he is the divine masculine leader who handles the relationship to the earthly resources with dignity and with integrity. That's what the king of pentacles represents. You understand? So it's just about breaking down what the symbols mean. And, we look at, like, in this example, we look at the kings in this instance of just looking at the symbols and the symbolic meaning of the kings, right? But what happens when you have a king of swords or a king of wands with the emperor card, or with the sun card or the moon card, or with any other kind of deck, like a Carolyn archetype deck, with the pioneer, with the child? What do you do when you've paired these cards with other cards? How do you find the meaning in that, or in ways that can help you understand the cards without getting into the hocus pocusry of it all, without feeling like you have to predict a future event, or you have to control outcomes or read anyone's minds? That's not what the tarot is about. And where I come in is that as we go through a reading, so my Inner Four Mystery School runs like this. It is a platform on Substack where you get episodes in the form of audios every single Sunday, late Sunday evening. And in that audio, what I'm doing is not only breaking down the meaning of cards, no hocus pocusry involved, but as we go through the cards, we're learning and I'm educating you on what the cards mean, how to look at them, and how to look at applying these cards to the story of our worlds, because these cards are nothing but ancient symbols and archetypes that are common to the human experience. So we can apply our knowing and our understanding of this to our personal relationships, doing shadow work and healing from, or doing what we can to try to help ourselves heal through things. I'm not a psychiatrist or psychologist or a therapist. I don't purport to be. I just show you a way, a little process to help you sort of journal through that, through the readings. In the readings, we look at how these symbols affect things like our understanding of ancient religion and government propaganda and political propaganda, looking at race relations, gender relations. The cards sometimes bring up things related to pop culture and entertainment and series that are out in the mythology, like say in Star Wars, we see a connection there. Just whatever, the cards provide a great prompt for helping us to look at our lives and how to do the shadow work to get the most out of them. And so it's a lot of fun. Again, it's an audio format that you receive on Sunday evenings. And so you can just chill out and vibe out. I don't know how late you stay up, on Monday, whenever you are able to listen to the audio, whatever day you're able to do it, and kick back and listen while you're learning cards, you're understanding what the symbols mean, and you're remembering your own divine understanding of these things, right? So all you got to do, if you're interested, and this is for people who want to go deep. This is for people who feel like there's an ancient ancestral call, like an ancient past life thing you had going on, but also you're here to do work for the future. Like you feel like you sort of sit in two different timelines and you're trying to make sense of the symbols and things around them. That's where I come in. If you're interested, click the link in the description box of this video or in my bio. Go on over to Substack. You can listen to one reading for free. And I'm going to start incorporating something new in this upcoming reading. So go on and get on over there. Subscribe to this channel as well. And be on the lookout for more information, more videos. And thanks for tuning in. Y'all have a wonderful week. Goodbye.